your host on Book Talks. On today's episode, we have Miss Anele. Let's welcome Miss Anele. How are you, Anele?
I'm good, Dimpo. Thank you so much for having me.
And how did you rise this morning?
I rose very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for honoring our invite here on Book Talks.
Thank you.
So, Miss Anele, please briefly explain who you are as Miss Anele Ngwenya.
Thank you. So my name is Anele Ngwenya, and I'm the Head of Stakeholder Engagement at Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator. That's me on a professional level. On a personal level, I am an ambitious career woman, just on my way trying to find many ways of helping people as much as I can. Mm-hmm. I love the work that I do at Harambee because it gives me an opportunity to help young people, and it gives me an opportunity to work with many other people in terms of helping young people as well.
And for those who don't know what Harambee is, please briefly explain to us what Harambee is.
So Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator is a not-for-profit enterprise. We've been around for about 13 years. And we work with partners and governments and civil society and business so that we can assist in eradicating youth unemployment, as well as unlock opportunities for young people and put those opportunities on a platform that we call SA Youth, which is a zero-rated platform that basically allows young people to apply for opportunities regardless of where they are in the country. So that's basically Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator.
And your role, as you've explained, please explain what you do in your role as head of stakeholders.
So as head of stakeholder engagement, I do this in a department called Strategic Communications Department. So basically, I strategically try and inform young people about SA Youth Mobi, which is our platform. I also then work on influencing young people to use the platform because it is a very useful platform. There's so many amazing opportunities on it. So it's just to make sure that young people are aware and also to make sure that partners are aware of our platform because partners can also use this platform to advertise opportunities. They don't have to spend as much money advertising on newspapers anymore, but they've got a database of young people that they can source from SA Youth.
And for those employers who don't know about the platform, what is your advice to them?
My advice to them is to take a shot and really give a young person an opportunity. You know, this thing of expecting young people to have experience, they really need to think twice about really looking at the young person and giving them their first shots in terms of work so they can experience then what it means to be a professional. So I would advise partners or rather employers to really put up their opportunities onto our platform so that they can hire the young people that would really add value because when you take a young person who, yes, might not have experience, but they've got the energy and they've got the ambition to really learn and to build the experience through you. And you're also doing your parts in terms of society and really giving back by giving that one person that first opportunity so that they can really get their career started as well.
And how has the website helped unemployed young people?
Sure, it's helped quite a bit. There's actually we've noticed that when a young person goes on SA Youth .mobi, their chances, if they go there 3 times a week, their chances of getting employment are 10% higher than them just looking on any other platform or not using SA Youth .mobi. So it's really, really helpful because we've got work readiness tips there as well. We've got opportunities that are in different sectors, retail, hospitality, working within the public sector as well. And we have also learning opportunities. So if you are not working, there's also an opportunity for you to then be learning because you should always be busy. In South Africa, we have about 1.2 million young people that enter the work market every year. these are matriculants that have just left school, because remember, not everybody goes to to university. It's expensive, and we know that. And not everybody has that opportunity. So what does the young person that's sitting at home, not learning, not earning any money, what do? They can learn about hustling. They can prepare themselves for the workplace while they wait for their opportunity. So basically, a young person shouldn't be sitting at home not doing much, because the SA Youth system offers them activities and then opportunities to say, okay, if I'm not earning anything, I can be learning something. I can also be learning about making my own money on the side. So what can I think of? Can I have a nail salon? Can I go help Abogogo with maybe bags or errands and charge them 10 Rand an errand? But what can I do as a young person? So I think the platform really does also inspire a young person to see what else they can do.
And in terms of building a profile on SAYouth.mobi, how does one go about registering?
Okay, so it's pretty simple. You just go onto SAYouth.mobi. This can be on your cell phone or your laptop. It's zero rated, which means that you need little to no data. To access the system, you just put your name, your surname. You need to have your ID number ready on the side, and you also then need to have your address, your home address on the side, because what's awesome about SA Youth is that it directly responds to some of the barriers that we have chosen to focus on that young people face in finding employment. And those barriers are things like being far away from economically vibrant areas. So if you are staying in a small town in the Northern Cape, what are the chances of you seeing opportunities in Gauteng, in Western Cape, you know, in KZN, where there are more industries that are moving around? The platform also means that allows young people to use it without needing data. We know that South Africa has some of the highest costs in terms of data. We complain about it all the time, and we laugh about it all the time. But the truth is that it's really, it disables young people then, and it creates a barrier for them to actually go and look for opportunities as well. So the other thing that then the platform does is that it has a geolocation, a geo-mapping technology, right? Which means that when you put your address in, it will give you opportunities that are around your area as well, which is why it's so important that businesses and employers of all kinds really do upload their opportunities there. If you're looking for a teller, you're looking for a waitress, you're looking for someone to assist somewhere, put that job adverts on SAYouth.mobi as an employer, so that we can find that young person, give them an opportunity to get into the workspace as well, because all experience is experience. There's no such thing as no experience, and I guess we'll get to that later when I talk about, preparing for the world of work. But anything that you do as a young person, from volunteering at church to doing anything over the holidays, you can put that on your CV, and that is experience on its own.
Okay. And are there any age restrictions coming to registering?
Look, there is no strict age restriction, but we do encourage that young people in particular do apply for the opportunities.
Okay, all right. And besides looking for jobs, right, we've also spoken about entrepreneurship, right? And how does then Habib encourage township entrepreneurship, especially in smaller communities in rural areas?
So on our SA Youth.mobi platform, we do have a hustler's guide, which then assists, if you know the word hustling, making your own money, and just being your own entrepreneur. We have those tips on SA Youth.mobi as well. So how do you start your own hustle? How do you really look for the opportunities that are around you? I think one of the best things you can do as a young person, regardless of where you are, whether it's the township or anywhere, is to really look for gaps in your community, to say, where can I help? And how can this translate into some kind of profits for myself as well? And we saw that as well, especially post-COVID. We saw a lot more micro entrepreneurs. So these are entrepreneurs that are finding the solutions during COVID, are doing the errands for abogogo who can't go to the pharmacy and get their own things, or are doing nails at home for someone. So young people are coming up with their own answers, and I think where SA Youth plays its role then in the township economy is by providing those resources. That's why I say if a young person can just go on sayouth.mobi, they're going to find so many resources. How to start your own business, how do you register, who do you need to speak to, and what does it look like to actually operate a small business like that, what you need to consider.
And now speaking about the Hustler Study Guide, please tell us more about that.
Well, I think I've already said quite a bit about it, but I'll just add on. It is available on our sayouth.mobi system, and it is very, very helpful. Again, it really looks at how do we enable the young micro entrepreneur or entrepreneur. How do we give you the tips that you need? Where do you start off? Okay, maybe I need to go to the CIPC. I need to come up with a business plan. So it gives you a guide on, you've got this great idea, but how do we now make this idea profitable? How do you open the store that you want to open? How do you find the customers that you want to find? And how do you manage the process of becoming your own hustler until you either grow and expand, which is what we hope would happen. And if you decide along the way that I'm going to take all of these business skills that I have and I'm going to throw them into my professional career, because maybe as a hustler, you were studying on the side, you were really building on your portfolio, but then you decide, okay, you know what, now that I'm ready to be an accountant and I want to go and get my SAICA certification, I'm going to put this aside for a bit. But what I've learned in entrepreneurship is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because we know that in South Africa, the career path of, I'd say anyone actually, is not always linear. You are either leaving high school and going into the formal economy, which only accommodates about 60% of our economy, which means that 40% is either you become an entrepreneur, or you get into a less informal sector as well. So yeah, it's really, really helpful in that sense.
Right. And now speaking about that, right, moving into a more formal environment, right, you also have the Smart Works initiative. Can you please tell us more about that?
Thank you. So, when we look at the problem of youth unemployment, you have to look at it holistically, I think, with any problem at all. And I think we've been blessed. We've been blessed to be able to work with people who are so smart and can come up with all kinds of solutions. And one of the things that we look at when we look at a young person's journey towards finding employment is not only do you need to be prepared in terms of kind of figuring out where you want to go, but also what about, how do you present yourself? So we have an initiative called Smart Works program, and basically this is an initiative that looks at clothing the young work seeker. So we collect clothes from various donors. You can also donate clothes if you'd like. Maybe heels that you don't use anymore. And we've got clothes for both women and men. And the idea is that then a young person comes in and says, look, I've got an interview that I'm going to. I need a shirt, I need pants, I need shoes, because you can be prepared in every way possible, but you're really going to get that extra boost when you can show up and wear a nice, clean, crisp shirt and shoes. And I think we can all remember the time a time where we desperately needed to look good for an interview, and you ask your mom, can I please just go to the shops and get a shirt and get a blazer and look good? And not everybody has access to that. And so that's another extension of how we can holistically look at the problem. But how do you also walk into an interview with dignity, and then you can share your story after you've prepared?
And going into an interview, right? For example, our audience, maybe it's like the first time they're going into an interview. They've prepared themselves mentally, but what can you say are the emotional factors that we should look into going into an interview?
Sure. I think the first thing you've already mentioned, preparation. Preparation is king. So you might not know what people are going to ask you, but you might have an idea. So do prepare. Go on the internet, look at all the possible questions that they could ask for the position that you are applying for. If you are an entry work seeker and it's more general, look at the general kind of questions that you could be asked. So preparation is number one. Preparation is king. And I think, just emotionally, I think, be kind to yourself, be yourself in the interview, look at people in the eye when you do speak to them, acknowledge the things that they say, listen very carefully to the question, take your time also responding to the question. People are not rushing you in an interview. They want to hear a bit about you. So take your time, think before you answer something, and give them the best answer that you really can think of from yourself. And then, of course, always remember to show interest in the job by asking questions afterwards. So can you tell me a little bit more about what this job would look like if I were to get this role? But ask them questions as well that can lead them to telling you more about the role and more about the company as well. See it as an exchange, because at the end of the day, you yourself are a packaged quality product, offering your services and your skills and your energy to an employer who really needs that. They can't do that for themselves. So I think as much as you also walk in there hoping to get this job, also really tap into that part of your confidence where you actually tell yourself that, you know what, these people also could use someone like me.
Yeah, true that. So now moving on to I suppose the next step, right? We've gone through the interview, I got the job, and this is like my first year into the job, and now I'm facing a blockage. For example, what can I say? A scenario would be handling rejection, right? We're in a board meeting, for example, and my idea or my ideas has just been rejected. How would you then advise that young person to handle rejection?
Well, first and foremost is to not take it personally. Work is a professional space, and even if it was a personal rejection, never take it personally. There's always a constructive way of understanding why your idea was rejected, not you, your idea. And then, of course, interrogate, explore. If you really want to move forward, there's something we call failing forward. So it's okay if you feel like maybe perhaps your idea is not taken in, you might feel a bit discouraged, but maybe you were onto something and your idea was not the one that they picked at that time. Also, rejection is redirection, as we spoke about earlier. So perhaps the idea or what they might have rejected you on is not necessary for now, but it might be necessary for another time. So there's always room to speak and say, look, how can I do this better? Or where did I go wrong? Or how can I fail forward? But have that flexibility when you are rejected to ask the questions that you need to ask and to see if you can do better, because being in a professional space, you will get a lot of criticism. When you take it personally, it really does impact you negatively. Mentally, because we all have our own, background. We have our own issues with abandonment and rejection, and when we bring that into the workplace, it really, can't get to us unless we're willing to be self-aware enough to say, in this moment, where can I do better?
Sure. Room for improvement also. So thank you for that and explaining that, and I think our young people in the workplace will definitely benefit from that. And now stepping into my next question, how do we then handle conflict? Because I think after rejection, there's that moment of, hey, we're going to fight. It's me and you after school.
Yeah.
It's me and you after work. So how do
the parking lot.
Yeah. The parking lot, girl.
Where it goes down.
How do we then handle that conflict? Or how do we go about it?
Sure. Again, not taking it personally is very important. We are two professionals, and maybe we might not have heard each other seen eye to eye.
Yeah.
So I think having that confrontation is quite key. It's not always easy. because there are so many things to read in between the lines. But it's very important to confront that conflict if you feel. And this might be necessary, especially in a professional space, that there could be a mediator. You can then maybe go to another department or go specifically HR and go to them and say, look, maybe there is a bit of a conflict between myself and such a colleague. We might need a mediator, someone with an objective point of view who can assist us in terms of just sorting this out. But even prior, before you get to that step, see if you can at least just gun up the courage to say, you know what, you and I are not getting along on such and such and such, and it's getting to such and such a point. I cannot operate in my role because this conflict is just, getting out of the way. What can we do? And maybe the other person does not want to meet you halfway or cannot do it. Then again, be the bigger person and say, I think we need to get a mediator so that we can talk about this and see how we can then move forward. And then again, if you work for an organization that is guided by values, that is value driven, then refer back to your values as a company and remind your colleague that this is how we should be doing things, or this is how we can work better. That's how I can think of conflict in the workplace in particular. Do not take it personally. See if you can confront the person in a respectful manner. Or number 3, it then would have to be escalated to another department or HR where things can be looked at objectively and then see how you can move forward.
Thank you for those lessons. And we have discussed the successes of your organization, but we also want to look at the challenges that you guys face. Can you please name them for us, and how are you tackling them on a daily basis?
Sure. I think one of the biggest challenges we have faced as an organization is change, the culture of change. I think we have such a big problem in South Africa. Youth unemployment is a big problem. So one of our biggest challenges has been not a challenge, I guess an answer to the challenge is working with other partners. But one of our biggest challenges has been also just change in general, how the economy changes, how the country changes. Then we've got COVID, and then everyone must stay at home, and people can't go and apply for jobs, and jobs are letting go of people, and the likes of. And I think one of the best ways in which we have mitigated our challenges is by coming up with a platform such as SA Youth Mobi, is working with government and business and civil society to see how can we bring young people on this journey, continue bringing them on this journey with us. So we've got SA Youth, which reaches out to young people throughout the country, because pre-COVID, we used to interface with young people a lot more face-to-face. So when we found an opportunity through our partnership with departments such as Department of Employment and Labor, Youth Employment Services, National Youth Development Agency, Presidency, we were able then to say, well, how can we come up with a solution that reaches young people and makes and breaks the barriers for young people to get jobs with these changing times? And then number 2, how do we now also make sure that young people know of this platform? And that's when we have our road shows. So at SA Youth, we also do road shows. We go to visit different provinces and we speak to young people. We let them know about this platform. We show them how to use it. Some of them already are members of the platform, but maybe you find that they forgot their password or they haven't been able to do this step for a long time. So that on-the-ground interface is very key, because we as an organization might be moving in this direction, bringing a solution to young people. However, we need to facilitate that change by taking the young people with us, constantly communicating with them. This is the platform we have. This is how it works, and this is how it enables you. We also have an incredible contact center with amazing guides that actually help young people on the phone. I've been applying for this post. I need my password, or I'm stuck here. How do I move forward? So we have a lot of support resources for young people based on the fact that things are just changing all the time.
And they're evolving as well.
Sure.
And how do we then, for us who are on the platform, for example, how do we then encourage others to join? For example, being your mini ambassadors, how would you then advise us to go out there and encourage others?
Sure. I think a good way is firstly for you to be a member of SAYouth.mobi so that you can understand what you're telling people about.
Yeah.
You understand this product. Like, look, guys, I went onto this platform and they have these kinds of opportunities.
Yeah.
So to be that ambassador first is to know the products. So know the products, have a profile on SAYouth.mobi, apply for an opportunity on SAYouth.mobi, and let other people know that,
Yeah.
look, there's this platform and I'm waiting for my opportunity while I'm applying for these opportunities. But while I'm waiting, I'm also then learning 1, 2, 3, and I'm also getting these skills. How amazing is SA Youth? Because it really is amazing.
It is amazing. And I mean, like, your web design just speaks for itself because there's so many bright colors on there. So
Awesome. I'm glad you remember. Yes.
What are your words for youthful people out there, people who are beyond 25, who are like, yo, I'm past the age of like 25, and they need words of encouragement or motivation. What are your parting words for them?
Sure, I can say, as a 34-year-old, it's never too late to do anything at all in your life.
Yeah.
You need to work with your own timeline. Firstly, you need to work with your own timeline, understand what your goals are and your bigger picture is, because at 25, you can still go and study medicine and be a doctor by 35, which is still a very young age.
Yeah.
You've got many years to practice, So I think first and foremost, don't lose hope. I know it's hard when varsity is difficult and we can't afford it, and there are these issues at home and there's this happening and you've been knocking on doors and they're not opening. But for as long as you're alive, there are still opportunities for you. And opportunities are not always guided by age, You can still be who you want to be at whatever age. And of course, if you've got that hustler spirit inside of you, really do not lose it. See how you can become a better hustler. See what kind of business you can do while you wait to get into the job that you want to get into. Go onto SA Youth and look at our Hustlers Guide and see what you can do for yourself and your community as well. And also be proactive.
Yeah.
Don't just sit and wait for things to come to you, but be proactive about your life and go and see how far you can get. Knock on all the doors. The only thing you should be hoping for is a yes. Knock until it's a no, we don't want.
Yeah. And I also think taking it into your stride, you might have the uniform, like you said. We might ask all of those questions, but it also goes back to discipline and confidence that one has. And I think with your advice and your tools that you've given us, we only have potential to accelerate from here onwards. So, hey, how can people follow you, or where can we reach your platforms?
So, firstly, I would say apply on SAYouth.mobi. Yes. So, come and become a member. Number 2, so you can find us on Facebook. We also have a TikTok page, but the most important platform is our SAYouth.mobi platform, because it's fit for purpose. It serves a particular purpose, which is for the young person to then cross over and get their next opportunity. We do have a chat bot that can assist you in terms of just like answering some of your questions and guiding you. We also then have a contact center where you can call on 0800 727272, and you can speak to a guide in our contact center. We call them guides, not call center agents, but they're more like guides because when we listen to some of the phone calls that we have a lot of young people that don't just talk about a problem, but they talk about other problems. They'll say, look, I've just come out of rehab, or this is the challenge that I'm facing, hence I'm not able to get this far in my career journey. And we take a lot of patience and love into how we talk to our young people and making sure that they really, because, looking for an opportunity is a hopeless, it feels almost, you feel very hopeless. You don't know what the next day is going to look like. And so, we have those support services. So you can reach us on Facebook We have a TikTok page, and then of course you can reach us on our platform and do call our call center, speak to one of our friendly guides, and also get onto our chatbots.
And can you please repeat the number again for those who didn't hear you in the back? For those who didn't hear you in the back.
Okay, so for those at the back, the number is 0800 727272, and it's also our WhatsApp. And I will need to double check, but I will follow up with that. It's also our WhatsApp chatbot line. So you can also then chat to our chatbot who can answer those quick questions for you.
I'm grateful. I am full. And we just want to say thank you for your work. We see you, we acknowledge you, and we just want to say thank you for inspiring the youth of South Africa, and hopefully for those abroad who are coming to South Africa, knowing that there are opportunities like these. And thank you to your organization and what you have done as an organization for the youth of today. And thank you very much for honoring our invite.
Thank you for having me.
There, guys, you've heard it from Ms. Anele herself. She has said all of the information. I'm not going to repeat anything, but again, please join the program of SA Youth Mov. And guys, be informed about the opportunities you have in your community. And to those employers looking for employees, come on. It's for free. It's for free, you know what I mean? And give the young people of your community not only an opportunity, but a way to see life. And until next time, from me, Dimpom Khalid, peace.